Hello beautiful people, here's a quick review of the British Battle Rating 1.7 Alecto I tank destroyer from the recent Battle for Arachis crafting event. Hope you enjoy. Let's jump right into it with some of the pros and cons. Some of the pros. Gun. The Alecto is equipped with a 95mm howitzer able to fire high explosive anti-tank, high explosive and smoke shells. The heat shell has an armor penetration of 110mm at all distances, and that means that there is no vehicle around its battle rating that it cannot penetrate. There is no reason whatsoever to bring the high explosive shell. Its armor penetration is just 10mm and it contains less TNT than the heat shell, so just forget that you even have a high explosive shell. The last shell is the smoke shell, and it is always a good idea to at least bring a few of them with you for utility. The cannon is a howitzer type with a low muzzle velocity of just 502 meters a second, but its trajectory is surprisingly flat for a howitzer. This means that you do not have to worry about elevating the gun too much while trying to engage targets at longer distances. Mobility. Top speed is 49 km an hour. Now that does not sound like a lot at this low battle rating, where a lot of the vehicles are small and speedy. But it's more than enough to keep up with teammates and fast enough to get into good firing position as one of the first vehicles. The Alecto is also a quite short vehicle, and that means that you can turn it pretty quickly. Size. The vehicle is also pretty small and has a very low profile. This means that it is easy to hide, and you can even hide it in a depression where most vehicles would have their turrets and often more being visible, but not the Alecto. And some of the cons. Gun depression. The gun can only depress -5 degrees, and that is pretty bad. So even though you can hide the entire vehicle, you often still need to expose the Alecto fully in order to fire at a vehicle even just a little downhill from you. Armor protection. The armor on the Alecto varies from 4 to 10mm, which means that pretty much everything can penetrate its armor. Furthermore, it is open top, so very vulnerable to attacks from the air, artillery and high explosive shells. Reload. Base reload speed is just over 11 seconds. With the loader up to 5 combined with a very cheap expert upgrade, you can bring it down to a much nicer 9 seconds. But 9 seconds is still quite a long time at this low battle rating. If you compare it to the German 75mm howitzer, here with the same crew upgrades, the reload speed is over twice as fast with just over 4 seconds. Ammunition. The placement of the ammunition on the small vehicle is pretty unfortunate. It is basically just behind the flat side panels on both sides of the Alecto. Granted, everything can pin it already, but this placement will further increase the chances for an ammo rack. But I guess it does not matter if the crew would shove the ammo up their asses. The chances for the ammo rack would be the same. Well, unless you consider the asses to be wet storage. As usual with these type of vehicles, they work best if you have decent map knowledge, otherwise they will punish you pretty severely. Unfortunately, the long reload rate of the gun hampers this little guy some, since we all know how unreliable the post-spin damage of the heat shell can be. If you, like the German 75mm howitzer, are able to fire a second shell within 4 seconds, it negates some of the unreliability. But with the Alecto, you do not have this luxury. This means that if you meet an enemy head-on, the Alecto is a kind of do-or-die vehicle. Furthermore, it being open top makes it very vulnerable to basically all aircraft. Your best chances for survival is to try ambush or snipe enemy vehicles. Now Britain does not really have a battle rating 1.7 lineup to put it in, but with its firepower, the Alecto will do fine in a battle rating 2.3 vehicle lineup, and a battle rating 2.3, Britain has a much better lineup. All in all, I think the Alecto is a fine little event vehicle. It is quirky enough to be considered interesting, and it has for the battle rating great firepower, while on the other hand being a glass cannon. It may not suit everybody's playstyle, but it suits mine personally just fine. I do like this little guy. But that was about it. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to deploy your die brakes. Have a good one.